that are packing the dance floor. I'll be featuring local artists and the story behind the hits, shows in the area, as well as new songs that make you want to dance. It's Dance Time in Texas with DJ Mike on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5 KCZW and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KCCZ LP Conroe and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Happy Monday. Welcome to the week of Mother's Day, May 8th. I'm Margie Taylor, your host for Conroe Culture News, FM 104.5, 106.1, live streaming, irlonestar.com. And we are here in downtown Conroe at the Conroe Tower. This is also on Our City TV, irlonestar.com, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live, Conroe Culture News. Guest today, it's all about families and what you can do to keep your family safe, your kids, and all of that. My first guest is Attorney Teresa De Ford of DeFord Law Firm. She specializes in family law, divorce, child custody, estate planning, probate, all of those things that you never know when you may need those. And maybe even adoption. Maybe you want to take on another child. Diane Peterson is an investigator with Precinct 5 Constables Office and the District Attorney's Office on the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. This is going to be very interesting. Both parts of this are great information you need to listen to. So she's going to reveal some eye-opening things, so watch this with your kids. So that's what's happening on our show today, and it is sponsored by Roger Stein Chiropractic and the Lake Conroe Realty Group. Roger Stein Chiropractic is located at 3033 West Davis by Conroe High School and Taco Bell, treating everyone from infants to seniors, weekend athletes to professionals with a focus on natural, holistic healing of pain and achieving optimal health. Dr. Stacy Rogers holds certifications in adjusting extremities, arm, legs, hands, feet, clinical nutrition, prenatal, and pediatric care. If you are not a patient, it's less than $30, like $29, to go visit her, have a visit, and have her check you over, and it all gets donated to CASA, and that helps kids in CPS custody. So, Roger Stein Chiropractic, Lake Conroe Realty Group serves the greater Montgomery County area as the best source for buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Call Vinny Sinisi, because it's an easy name to remember. So a few other things going around in our area, and no, I don't mean that as a contagious way, just fun things to do with your family or whatever. Like I said, well, this is Mother's Day weekend coming up. But if you have youth ages 8 to 12 years of age, the Multi-Arts Camp is hosted by the City of Conroe, and each year it sells out. The kids love this. They learn about acting, directing, how to do the artwork, how to sing, and put on a theater production. So they have 2 sessions for that, June 5th through 9th and June 12th through 16th. You can call the Recreation Center, 936-522-3900 to get details and register for the Multi-Arts Camp. Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be hanging out in a free movie showing at Movies in the Park this Friday, May 12th, starting at 8:15 or dusk at Heritage Place Park. There will be concessions. Bring your lawn chairs and blankets, and it is absolutely free. What a fun thing, as long as it's not raining. So check that out. Saturday, May 13th, the Heritage Museum of Montgomery County will host their Intimate Gathering series with Mark Boyle. He is speaking on Forgotten Legends and Heroes of the U.S. Navy at 1 p.m. This is also free, and that is over at Candy Cane Park, the Heritage Museum. This gentleman served as an attorney for the Department of Defense after serving 41 years with the Navy, retiring as a commander. So this is in celebration of Memorial Day. He's going to discuss the legends and heroes of the United States Navy. And have you ever been to the food truck park? There is a food truck park, if you don't know this by now, the Table at Madeley. And they have events. They have musicians, chicken bingo, movies. And this Saturday night, they are having a stand-up comedian. Should be fun. Jerry Wayne Longmire will perform on stage Saturday night, May 13th at 7:30 p.m. So you can go to theconroetable.com and see all their events and go there and have some food, too. I mean, it's a food truck park. Enjoy yourself. So with that, we're going to take a short break and be back with our first segment with Teresa DeFord, the family law attorney.
Since 2004, Roger Stein Chiropractic has offered spine and joint manipulation services to residents of Montgomery County and surrounding areas. Conditions treated include lower back pain, migraines, headaches, whiplash, carpal tunnel, neck pain, sciatica, joint pain, sports injuries, herniated discs, and complications from pregnancy. Roger Stein Chiropractic, led by Dr. Stacy Rogers and Dr. Brian McGee, is an integrity-verified chiropractic clinic. Call 936-441-9990 for an appointment or visit rogerssteinchiropractic.com. That's RODGERSSTEIN chiropractic.com.
Team Sinisi is a proud sponsor of Conroe Culture News. Vinny Sinisi and his professional team provide comprehensive real estate services throughout the greater Montgomery County area and beyond. Whether looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, Team Sinisi has an impeccable reputation. Contact Team Sinisi for a great experience at teamsinisi.com. That's TEAMSINISI.com.
And we are back. I am sitting across the table here with Teresa DeFord, and she's with the DeFord Law Firm, and she's going to tell us all about herself, what she wants to share, how she got started in practicing family law, and a little bit about what she enjoys most. So thank you, Teresa, for coming on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here.
So tell me about your practice.
So we are a full-service family law firm. I like to say that we handle things from cradle to grave. So you kind of mentioned, adoption, certainly births of children that, when we're dealing with children that may be born in relationships that where the parents aren't married and we need to establish custody or establish support for a child. We start at the very beginning. But we handle all things family law, whether it's establishing custody of a child, establishing paternity of a child, adoption. We handle prenups before someone gets married, sometimes cohabitation agreements. A lot of people don't want to be married, but a lot of the things that they do imitate what married couples do and can get them in trouble if they don't do it right. And then we handle all the divorce process. We handle...
Those are the harder things.
Those are the harder things. That's very emotional, obviously.
Stressful.
Very stressful. And then modifying custody and child support. But then on the other end, we do estate planning. We help people make sure that their lives are in order. So if and when, obviously we're all going to pass at some point, when we pass, that things are set up so to make it easier on your family when you have passed. And then we'll handle the probate side of it after someone's passed, help get things transferred, give people authority to do what they need to do when someone has passed. So again, cradle to grave, all of the things that relate to the family.
So the adoption end of it is probably more fun.
It's a lot more fun, yeah. Everyone loves adoptions. When you go into a court for an adoption, usually that's the only time you'll see a child in court, when the judge will let the children come in for the adoption part, and then everyone in the place claps and pictures are taken. It's always a very fun time.
So that's done in person, yes?
It is done in person,
but a lot of it is not done in person.
Well, it's been changing. Obviously, with COVID, there was a lot of the courts. Well, all of the courts at one point moved to online, so there was a lot of Zoom hearings, and a lot of that has gone back to in person. At least here in Montgomery County, all of our family courts are in person, and our probate courts are on Zoom, which is which is a great option. It's very efficient, especially since a lot of times in the probate area, you have older people that are coming in to handle probates, be witnesses, and so it's easier for them as long as they have somebody to help them handle the computer. And it's been a really efficient way to handle probate.
So what do you enjoy the most of family law?
So the thing I enjoy the most is usually when someone comes to us for a divorce. Again, it's super emotional, right? The person has made a decision that this isn't working for them and their family anymore, or their spouse has made that decision for them and they're reeling from the shock. But a lot of times we see people who are kind of really beat down emotionally and mentally at that point. That marriage probably hasn't been working for quite a while, and they are not their best self. What I love about the whole process is once we get into the process and hopefully, get towards the end, you start to see people really come alive and blossom and become who they really are and who they're meant to be. They have hope for the future. They have goals.
They have more confidence in
themselves. They have more confidence. Yes, that's a great way to put it. And so that's what I love to see people really blossom and take ownership of their lives.
It's like they open their eyes and there's more to see.
Yes, and that's a great way to put it too. I mean, they are often very blinded by, it's just like anything in life.
It's a tragedy, yeah.
Anything in life, we get to a point where we're just going through the motions and we're not seeing the big picture. And most people.
So you help them see a bigger picture.
Yes.
So that brings a smile to you to see that happen. But you do a lot of other. I mean, I would think that a lot of these parts are probably not as stressful, like estate planning. For the future.
Right.
And what the family looks like. And does that also involve if you have a business and where it's going to go? Is that part of that?
Sure, yeah. Having a business is it has to be part of your estate plan. I mean, it sometimes is handled separately where there's business documentation that is done to transfer a business.
But you can do that too.
But we can do
people.
that, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
So you can do any part of this. So family law, why family law?
That's a great question. I didn't start out doing family law. I've been practicing law for 27 years this year. And the first 13 years, I did commercial litigation. I did trucking litigation. I did oil and gas litigation, all working for corporations and insurance companies, no personal whatsoever. Huh. Yeah. And, and I enjoyed that at the time. I learned a lot. But at some point along the way, I realized I really didn't enjoy as much dealing with the non-personal, like you said. And so I started doing a little bit of divorce work. I probably started doing estate planning first because I had a friend whose husband died unexpectedly. He was 50 years old, dropped dead of a heart attack. Nobody was expecting it. And she had no idea where to turn. They hadn't done any estate planning. There was no life insurance. She didn't know how to get into the computer to even see. She didn't know what banks they banked at, didn't know any passwords. I mean, so she really needed a lot of help. And it was at that point that I said, oh my gosh, there's a whole world out here of people that need help, that I can help them and get, and that's truly fulfilling to help individuals.
You're using your skill set to make things better.
Yes. So I started doing that, probably 15 years ago, started gradually. And so I was working for another firm, and we eventually decided to part ways, and I opened my own firm in 2012 and have been doing family law, estate planning, and probate ever since.
It's a lot of work, but I bet you get a lot of enjoyment out of having your own law firm.
I do.
And you don't do it by yourself either.
I don't. We have 3 other attorneys in addition to me. We have 3 paralegals and a team of additional support staff that helps us do what we need to do and help everyone.
And they are all so gracious, courteous.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Wonderful. And how do I know that? Well, because I went to Teresa for my next of kin, heir to my son's estate, and made the process very easy. and got it done. And I am very appreciative of that, something I never thought I would have to do. But it was a process, and we got it done. And I know you've helped other family members with things, and they speak very highly of you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
You should check her out if you need help. So tell me, is that a thing? Do many people do prenuptial, postnuptial, or as they're living together, some kind of agreements?
You know, it's not as common, I think, as it should be. Most people think that a prenuptial agreement, you need that if you're getting married later in life, and absolutely you need that. You know, if you've been married before, been divorced or widowed, and you are married somebody that has, assets and children from other marriages or other relationships, you definitely want to have a plan for how that's all going to work together. So many people want to keep their assets from prior marriages separate, and they may continue to have assets together, may buy a house together, but they want to make sure that their children, from other marriages are
Seems
protected.
like that would kind of mix with estate planning.
It does. It mixes
Okay.
a lot with estate planning. So it's really important at that stage, but I think it's even more important for younger people. I think, when most people get married, they say, well, I don't have anything. I don't need to worry about it. Whatever it's all going to be, because we're a community property state. Once you get married, everything you earn, everything you buy, that is all community property. So if you get divorced, it gets divided. It doesn't matter who is the one working and earning the money, or whose name is on the house or the retirement. It's both spouses' money. Where I see, I think, a real need for prenuptial agreements is in agreements for how we're going to divide things up. If one person has been the sole breadwinner and there is a spouse who has made the choice for the family's benefit to stay home and take care of the kids, maybe they gave up a job or gave up their education that they had worked towards, towards a degree, but then never used it or used it for a while. And then 20 years goes by and now all of a sudden we're divorced, but that, one of the spouses has spent 20 years taking care of the kids, and now it's really hard for them to step back into the workplace.
It is.
And if you do step back into the workplace, it's not going to be at the same rate, the same income that you might have earned 20 years before, and it takes time to kind of get back there, and maybe your skills have just are totally gone, or you want to do something else now. And so, I think it's really important for people, especially in those situations, if you are making a family decision for one parent to stay home with the children and give up a career, then there should be some recognition of that. If we divorce, I may need some help for a period of time.
So that's part of the prenuptial?
It can be. It certainly can be. And unfortunately, in divorce, our state's spousal maintenance laws are one-sided, quite frankly. And
I was
so
going to say, you don't hardly hear of that.
you don't, because we really don't have it. I mean, there's a
Yes.
law that
I
says,
know, because I was a single mom.
Yeah.
And I didn't get anything. I didn't get child support or anything in
well,
Texas.
that's
But-
wrong. You should have gotten child support. But spousal maintenance is just a tough thing. The laws are very strict about what's required to establish, and you basically have to be destitute, have no ability to work, and have no assets to be.
So you have to be
able
at
to
the
qualify.
bottom
You have
for
to
they'll
be
do
really at the
anything.
bottom.
That's kind of crazy.
It's. I mean,
So you help with that.
we can help with that. Yeah. But what I tell people is don't count on getting that. So look out for yourself in other ways. And so one of those ways.
But you
is
don't get married to get divorced.
You don't. You don't.
So-
But as with everything,
Yeah.
you plan for success. That's the same thing we do for estate planning, right? I mean, you
gotta plan.
You have to plan. I mean, we don't intend to die when we're 25 or 30 or 50, but we're going to pass away at some point. So better to plan and not need the support, or at least not need that until we're 100. But better to plan.
So
and
it's good for parents to have a plan
Yeah.
for their children and
I
what's
think
going to
so.
happen.
I think so.
So when you do the estate planning, you mentioned something that drew my attention is this lady you helped didn't know passwords, how to get a computer. Is that something that people should do, write somewhere or
Yes.
share somewhere? And is that part of the estate planning? Or do you ever offer any kind of workshops or anything about how to have more control of, be more aware? You know where I'm going with that?
Absolutely. So yeah, I do recommend that. I mean, that's part of the estate planning process. When we do it, we bring both spouses in and we have them list out all of their assets, where their accounts are, so that both are on the same page. What happens
And how to access it.
and how to access it. Yes. I mean, I certainly, I don't need the passwords to that, but you should be sharing that with your spouse, and maybe with your adult children, so that they know, hey, here's where to get to this. There are services, there are apps. There's an app for everything, right? There are apps for that where you can
Put
you
your
can
passwords and
you
all
can
that.
secure all of that information so that they can't access it until they need to. But it is really important to share that information. I think so many times, it's not necessarily that there's any evil intent that somebody's hiding that information, but it's very common that one spouse they're the ones that handle everything, right? Sometimes it's the wife, sometimes it's the husband, and the other one just says, "Oh, they're handling it. Everything's good. I'm good." But what happens when they get hit by a bus, right? You don't know anything. And
I know.
so
I actually say that to my husband all the time. If something should happen to me, here's where everything is. He
here's
goes,
where everything
really?
is.
I said, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a friend
Get
whose
on my
husband-
computer, get on my phone.
Yes. I have a friend whose husband died recently, and it was unexpected, completely unexpected, but he had done a fabulous job of and he told her where everything was, but he had it all laid out, had all the accounts, all the passwords, made it so much easier for her in that terrible time to be able to just
And not be in a
reference
frenzy.
something and not be in a frenzy. Yes.
So, what would you like to tell people about your practice or something unique about you?
Well, oh goodness.
I know.
It's so broad, open-ended. I think what's unique about us is, we really work to educate and empower our clients. We want to make sure that they understand what's going on, and understand why things may have got to a point to where they are, and hopefully to prevent issues in the future. For estate planning, obviously we want to educate so that they handle things the right way, so that they can avoid or minimize probate, avoid or minimize the pain of dealing with things when having lost a loved one, and to make it as easy on their family as possible. And in the family law arena as well, we want to educate people so that they know what their rights are, that they're not just rolling over and agreeing to agree to get it over with, or to pacify someone else, their soon to be ex, but that they know what they're entitled to. Doesn't mean they have to be mean. Doesn't mean it has to be ugly. But everyone has a right to get what they're entitled to under the law, and so we really make sure that our clients know that. And also to empower them to, like I was saying before, so many people come in and at that point they're just so knocked down that they often can't fight for themselves. And so I like to tell people that, we're here to be your backbone. We're not going to be mean and ugly, but we're going to stand up for you, and we're going to help you stand up for yourself. And when it's all over, we hope that you are empowered enough to then take the reins and move on with your life and be in a better place than you were before.
Well, it's empowering to you, too, to
It
know that you can make a difference in somebody's life. I think
It is.
This is probably the most personal of any law that you can do is for families, because ultimately, what's more important? I mean, really, your family, your husband, your kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's who you are, right?
Right.
And so is everything you do through Claudia Laird's County Court of Law too, pretty much?
So that's Claudia Laird handles the probate, all the probate matters for Montgomery County. She also has in the past handled some civil matters, sort of more the small claims, not justice of the peace level small claims, but above that. But Judge Laird's court now is becoming a statutory probate court, so it will only handle probate, which is great. I mean, she does a fabulous job of again, being very efficient, moving things through, and handling everything well in all of the probate matters. So I think it's time we just have, the county's gotten big enough. We have enough probate matters that it's necessary to do that. Harris County, by example, or comparison, has 4 probate courts because of the size, and so we've just gotten to that point where we need. But so I also practice in we have 3 family courts in Montgomery County: Judge Tracy Gilbert, Judge Jennifer Robin, and Judge Amy Tucker. And they handle all the family law. So if a divorce or anything related to children is filed in Montgomery County,
Child support or
child
anything
support,
like that.
modifications of custody, adoptions, that's going to end up, it gets filed with the district clerk, and it's randomly assigned to one of those 3 courts.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all good. So the way that people can connect with you most easily, I mean, you have a Facebook page,
Right.
You have a DeFord Law Firm, and I love that you're consistent, and I love that. DeFord Law Firm, DEFORD lawfirm.com, and they can see all about you, the people you work with in your office, the paralegals, and the different people that answer the phone, and all
Right.
of that. And so what is the best way to get in contact with you?
So I think the best way is to call us. It's
Okay.
Our phone number is 281-466-2305. It's on our Facebook page. I don't expect
It's
anybody to
everywhere.
remember that. It's on
Yeah.
the website, DeFordLawFirm.com. It's on our Facebook page. We also have an Instagram page. Obviously, you can, as I always say, there's almost too many ways to get a hold of us these days, right? So Facebook Messenger to the firm will do that, phone calls. Usually if you call, you're going to talk with our legal assistant, Kat, or Andy Davis, who is our client services coordinator. She talks with everyone up front and to see what their needs are and whether we can help
And
them.
that's the best way to do it, is to call instead of just showing up. 'Cause
Yes,
you never know if
yes.
somebody's going to be there or if they're going to have access time to talk
Exactly.
with you.
Yeah. So there's not. It's the lawyers are often in court meeting with clients. So we're not always available. Between 9 to 5. So if you call and make an appointment, that's the best way to get in touch with us.
Are you still doing those workshops you used to do?
I am. Yes. So we just did one 2 weeks ago. We do the Wise Women's Guide to Divorce.
Yes.
We'd like to do one for men. We just haven't quite figured out a way to do it and get men that will show up. They're a little more private and
Offer bourbon or something.
yeah, right. Maybe that's it. So, but we do the Wise Women's Guide to Divorce monthly with a certified divorce financial analyst, a life coach, and a mortgage person to help talk about the issues about houses. And we do that almost monthly, but we take off in May and June because of end of school and vacations and such. So our next one will be in July. It's actually July 22nd. And then we'll
Do you put that on your Facebook page?
We do. It's
Okay.
on our Facebook page. And we also have an estate planning seminar that is coming up May 22nd. I'm partnering with Robert Young with Old Glory Financial, and we are going to do a estate planning seminar just to educate people about what they need to know about estate planning and the financial side, the life insurance side, on May 22nd at the Skinner Workspace Studios in the Woodlands. At 6 o'clock on that. It's a
Okay.
Monday. So
Put that on an event on your
I
page.
will. It'll be there.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Teresa is a great attorney, and she's very helpful. Her staff is extremely helpful. You always hear from them. They're very responsive. I would highly recommend her for, I don't want to even say divorce, but, things that you need in your life. Family planning, estate planning, adoption's a happy thing. And, all the good stuff and sometimes the bad stuff, because she can make your life better.
Thank you. Thank you, Margie.
Okay. All right. We will take a break and be back to hear about internet crimes against children. Stay tuned.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Since 2004, Roger Stein Chiropractic has offered spine and joint manipulation services to residents of Montgomery County and surrounding areas. Conditions treated include lower back pain, migraines, headaches, whiplash, carpal tunnel, neck pain, sciatica, joint pain, sports injuries, herniated discs, and complications from pregnancy. Roger Stein Chiropractic, led by Dr. Stacy Rogers and Dr. Brian McGee, is an integrity-verified chiropractic clinic. Call 936-441-9990 for an appointment or visit rogerssteinchiropractic.com. That's RODGERSSTEIN chiropractic.com.
Team Sinisi is a proud sponsor of Conroe Culture News. Vinny Sinisi and his professional team provide comprehensive real estate services throughout the greater Montgomery County area and beyond. Whether looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, Team Sinisi has an impeccable reputation. Contact Team Sinisi for a great experience at teamsinisi.com. That's TEAMSINISI.com.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your questions. Get seen on TV, YouTube, and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Support your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Does your company have needs that can be met by an employee who is dependable, hardworking, enthusiastic, motivated, cooperative, respectful, and punctual? Conroe Independent School District Special Education Department can meet your needs by connecting you with potential employees that have been preparing for a lifetime of employment. We have numerous individuals seeking paid and unpaid work experiences. If your company is interested in seeing how we can meet your business needs, call Conroe ISD Special Education Department to find the best employees for you at 936-709-7671.
Don't miss Lone Star Community Radio on TV and YouTube. Our talk show and music shows are featured on Our City TV, Suddenlink Channel 12, and have their own YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with posted shows and comment on them below the video.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776.
Okay, my next guest is Diane Peterson. She's an investigator. She actually works with Montgomery County Constables Office, Chris Jones, Precinct 5, and with the County District Attorney, Brett Legan. And she works on the task force, Internet Crimes Against Children. Wow. I guess I just never really thought about that you have to have a whole person and more. You have more than one person working on this.
Yes, ma'am. We actually have about 10, 10 investigators locally in Montgomery County dedicated to crimes against children.
Because there's so much.
There's just so much. It's overwhelming. We are actually part of the Houston Metro Internet Crimes Against Children, which HPD is the father over, and it extends out from Harris County into all of the surrounding counties. Montgomery County, like I said, we have about 10, and we do a lot of work out here We have crimes committed daily on the internet that are targeting our young children, and we want to be the person locally. Yes, ma'am. We want to be the person that stands in the gap there to try to protect our kids.
Do you apprehend a lot of these people?
We do. We go against these pedophiles daily in a variety of different ways. We have case referrals that come in from different agencies that will say, hey, my child was solicited online. And then we also act proactively doing undercover stings to try to catch some. And they're all local and in your backyard.
So scary. So I saw that you have over 3,000 agencies, whether nationally, statewide, locally, that work on nothing but these crimes against kids. It is a huge undertaking. Sexual crimes, child pornography, online solicitation, all of that.
Yes, ma'am. There's over 61 coordinated ICAC task forces across the United States. And there's also a lot of people in other countries that are working with us daily to help apprehend. Some of our social media apps extend into different countries, and they work with us. Some do not, but we're finding more and more that if it comes into terrorism or child exploitation, foreign countries are willing to help us.
Wow. It just gives me chills at how awful it is. I don't think it was that awful when I was younger, even when my kids were younger.
No, it most certainly wasn't. So I'll be 50 this year, and I remember as a child growing up, you were able to go to the corner store with your friends. You were able to go hang out at the park. You were warned about that white van, watch out for the bad guy. But unfortunately, that white van nowadays is on your phone, on your computer, literally inside of your house, and you don't even know it.
So I saw that it's mostly girls.
It is mostly girls, but I would say about 20-25% are boys, and it seems to be targeting our middle-aged students. Our victims are getting younger and younger, but when you stop and think about where you were as an 11, 12, 13-year-old girl, let's face it, we were all awkward. We were apprehensive about who we were, body changes. Some things we weren't always getting along with our parents. We had different influences coming in. And all of those things are factors that these predators use to prey on and groom children.
Tell me about grooming.
So grooming is when a predator will try to target someone, and it happens on a variety of social media apps that most kids have on their phones today.
That we don't know about even.
Parents know about a few of them, but kids are really wise about hiding. So we may have Kik on their phone. They'll have a Kik application with a persona that you, the parent, knows about.
What is Kik?
Kik is a social media app that's used for texting and reaching out to friends, video sharing. You may know about my profile, Diane Peterson, but what you don't know is that I've got 4 others, Mom. I'm hiding them from you, and that's what's happening. So these children will get on these platforms. You can reach out to strangers on them just by entering a couple of keywords. Say, I put in there that I'm lonely, I'm bored, I like pizza, or whatever my little tags are. And people will start reaching out to me. They'll start talking and pretending to be a friend, and then what happens is from there they see that I'm a little weak because I'm insecure. My parents are going through a divorce, or my dad died, or something tragic happened, and they use that to chip away at me and become my best friend.
Reel you in.
They do. They give you the kind of validation you're looking for, and next thing you know, they're your buddy, your pal. You can't go a day without talking to them. You want to visit, because they're giving you the kind of validation and making you feel good about yourself, and they use that.
So cell phones are a big thing.
Cell phones, tablets, computers. There are some applications out there.
Technology.
Yes. There are some applications out there that don't even need to be downloaded onto a phone. Omegle is a real popular one. Chatterbait is another one, and these are just websites that kids can go to and meet an anonymous stranger.
They talk and they know.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's Snapchat, of course. Whisper, I never heard of that before.
So Whisper's I can't say it's a relatively new one, but it's new to me. I'm not as familiar with it as some of the others, but just like Snapchat and many of the other profiles, you can set how close or how far away you want to chat with someone. And on Whisper specifically, you put up basically like a memes, a type of a publication you put up, regardless of what you want to say. I'm home, I'm bored, anything and everything. Anybody want to catch pizza? Let's go get our nails done. Anything. And then people will start responding to you and liking your post, and connections are made that way.
Scary. So these are mostly men, 26 up, generally, in general.
Yes.
So mid-20s, early 30s, something
Yes.
like that.
Correct.
Sometimes they're younger, but for the most part, and they're trying to lure young girls.
Yes.
For the most part.
For the most part.
For the most part. And they sometimes will send gifts or different things that you don't know where it came from.
That's correct.
As a parent.
As a parent sometimes, and our predators are getting more and more aggressive in how they do things and more secretive. It's not uncommon for them to send something via Amazon or send money to an Apple Pay cards where the kid can go buy what they want without the parents knowing. So that way something's not arriving in the mail for the parents to see.
Just a way of luring them in.
Yes.
And getting them to
Yes.
trust them.
I've had a couple of cases where when the parents took away the cell phone, the predator reached back out and said, meet me here, I'm going to give you a cell phone, and provided a cell phone to stay in touch with that child.
Let's watch a video.
Kobe person, how easy is it for a pedophile to pick up an underage child using social media? Well, today we're gonna find that out. I made a fake profile on Facebook posing as a 15-year-old boy. With the parents' permission, I friend requested 3 girls ages 14, 13, and 12 years old. I've been talking to these girls for the last 3 or 4 days, and today we're supposed to meet up. What we found in this video is shocking and something everyone should see. Be sure to watch until the end and use what we've learned in this video to better educate your friends and family. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.
This first girl, her name is Michaela. She's 13 years old. We've been talking on Facebook for the last couple of days, and we're supposed to meet up at the park later when her parents leave the house.
I'm just waiting right now to get the text that her parents have left the house. So I just got a text. My parents just left. I can be at the park in 10 minutes. We're gonna go see if she comes in 10 minutes. We're gonna go right now, set up all the cameras, and just be waiting there for her. So she said she's gonna meet me at the park playground. So this is the closest to her house, she said. So right now I'm texting her that I just got here. All right, I'll just wait, see what she says. She said, okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Oh, she's coming, yep. Michaela?
Where are you?
From Facebook. You remember?
Michaela, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
Sorry.
He could have been a rapist. He could have been a pedophile. Why would you do this?
Yeah, you know that. I could have been anyone. Like, you talked to me for the last 4 days. You've been talking to me on Facebook. Do you know that? Like, you shouldn't talk to strangers, especially online. Like, I wasn't even do I look the same as my picture? It could be even worse than that.
You realize how scary this could have been? Come here. We have to talk.
This next girl, her name is Juliana. She's 12 years old, and we're supposed to meet up tonight when her father falls asleep.
So right now I'm here with John, who's Juliana's father. We're gonna see if she's actually gonna come to the door or not. She said, this was the last text, LOL, I would have to wait till my dad falls asleep if you want to chill, because I can't have boys over. So she wants to chill tonight, supposedly. What do you think about that?
I don't think she's gonna open the door. Gotta hope she doesn't open that door.
What's your address?
I pray she does not respond to this.
Well, I can't say the address, but she just literally just texted the address. Start driving to the address close by. My dad's going to drop me off. All right, so she just said, I think my dad fell asleep. You can come now. One with the light right here?
Yes.
I'm outside. Come to the front door. Are you ready? Some
Nope. Juliana, get over here. Get over here. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
How can you do this? You're 12 years old. This guy's 20 years old. You could have been raped and murdered. We already lost your mother. What would I do if anything happened to you? What would I do if anything happened to you? I love you. Don't you ever do this again. Don't you ever do anything like this again.
I'm sorry.
This next girl, her name is Jenna. She's 14 years old. We've been talking online over text message and even had a phone conversation.
So right now we have the parents of Jenna. Jenna thinks her parents are going out tonight for date night. She thinks my brother is gonna be driving, so she's gonna get in the car, but she doesn't actually know that it's all just me. So I'm gonna text her right now. Did your parents leave yet? Yeah, like 15 minutes ago. Do you think she's gonna go through with this?
No way.
Absolutely not. I don't even believe it's her.
Okay.
Probably one of her friends playing around with her.
What's your address? All right, is this your house?
So I'm sure that will evoke a lot of conversation, the videos that we just saw, that these things really do happen. And they happen here. They happen
here.
locally.
They happen every day in your backyard. That gave me chills the first time I watched that video. And it's very realistic. It's very, very realistic to how it actually happens. These guys do not have to invite themselves into your home. They don't have to forcibly abduct your child. Your child is willing to go. They've already encountered your child. They've already made your child feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Those girls
think it's a
walked out
friend.
that door. Just
They
because,
think it's their friend.
Exactly, because of the grooming.
And they trust them.
They do.
It's shocking.
It's very shocking, and that is how it happens.
So
That
what
is
should
exactly-
parents do?
So there's a lot of people that will get on and say, oh, you need to have this app downloaded on your phone to watch what your child is doing. Apps are great. It's a great second set of eyes, but nothing beats communication. Parents need to communicate with their children. Who are your children talking to? Who are their friends? What are their friends about? How did they meet these friends? I'm friends with all of my children on social media. I've allowed my child to have social media. The requirement is I have to know her password and I have to be friends with her. We do periodically grab cell phones and go through them, and we will talk about it together. Who is this person? Have I met this person? Where did you meet this person? Do you know them in real life, or are they a friend of a friend? And we talk about all of these things. We also talk and communicate about what is acceptable to put on social media. A lot of people don't know that Snapchat has a location service. You can be exposed and people can see exactly where you are at any given time if that location service is turned on your phone.
Is that the biggest one, Snapchat? Seems to me it is.
So Snapchat and Kik, I would probably say, are the two biggest ones that kids are using right now in terms of a social media platform. And they feel like there's a little bit of a level of anonymity and safety built in because kids tend to think that the messages disappear, but they don't completely go away. Snapchat recently added a feature that if I screenshot or record anything that someone sends to me, it will notify the sender. But really, at that point, the damage is already done. That screenshot, that video has already been taken. So if a teenager is sexting and sends an explicit image, the other person screenshots it. Okay, you know they did, but what recourse do you have? You sent it. It's already too late. And the message is not going to disappear because they screenshotted it. So Kik and Snapchat are both the ones that the kids tend to use the most and are most popular amongst kids. Some of our younger kids, Discord and Roblox are very popular. Both of those also have a chat feature, which if not monitored properly, can be dangerous. So at the end of the day, I really say communication is the best source.
Are you friends with all of your kids' friends? Do they know who you are? Do they come to your house? I mean, how does that work? I know with my youngest, they always came over. I knew them. I knew their parents. I actually knew all the teachers, and they knew who I was.
Yes.
I was very visible in the school. They would call me if something wasn't right. If there's a party at my house, they call me and say, "Did you know there's a party at your house?" No, thank you for telling me.
So I'm thankful that with both of my kids, they're welcoming and willing to bring their friends over. I've been very blessed that both of my kids are good for the most part. You know, they're not without their own faults. But it's not uncommon to have a handful of teenagers sitting around our breakfast table,
It's comforting.
eating pizza, and we're talking about things. And
Right.
their parents know that I talk to them about it. Their parents welcome the fact that I'm willing to sit there and talk to them. The kids know that they have a safe place, that if they've got
They
questions.
probably all know you're an investigator, though,
They
too,
do.
right?
They do. So they know it's a safe place. They know if they've got
Yes,
questions,
that's
we're going
good.
to talk about it. And then if there's something that needs to be said, they know I will help them coordinate with their parents to get that bridge gapped. Because, like I said, communication is vital.
What is this fake calculator app?
Okay, so there are a couple of different versions out there. The fake calculator is probably the most popular because it looks just like the real thing. In order to access it, it's basically a hidden vault on a phone. And if a parent was to open it up and try to type in a mathematical equation, it's going to give results. It works just like a standard calculator does. But if the child goes in and enters their secret code, it opens up into a vault where they can hide videos and pictures and things that they don't want mom and dad finding. So it's a very sneaky way.
Alarming.
Absolutely.
So what is the biggest technique used here in Montgomery County, or can you say?
We use a lot of different
Not
things.
you, but what the bad people use.
So the biggest ones that I would say that our perpetrators are using are Kik, Omegle, Snapchat. It just really depends.
And how do they lure kids the most?
So they will just, like I said earlier with the grooming, you'll meet somebody in a random public group. They start talking, oh, you're very pretty. It's very complimentary at first, and you just think it's a random conversation about the weather, and then it slowly progresses as that friendship builds. But we have had people, my constable Chris Jones, I think is still on record for one of the fastest chats. I believe it was less than 3 minutes from the point that they made contact on Kik to the time the guy said, "When can I meet you and where? And I want to have sex with you."
Yeah, he's an amazing
And
guy.
it was that fast. So I've done the presentation several times for different social groups. And in the course of the presentation starting and ending, I have managed to catch someone who was wanting to engage with a child. The conversations happen that fast. But we also have ones that take a year or two to build that rapport and that confidence. We know they're after us. They know they're after trying to meet a teenager for sex, but they're just not quite ready to cross that line, or they've been caught before and they're trying to be extra careful. So we have had conversations go on for over a year.
Wow. Are there places, venues to avoid or not really?
Not really. Any place is a venue. These guys, they don't care. They'll meet wherever. We've had people want to meet at parks. We've had people want a meeting outside of a school. We've had people meet outside of a police station to meet a child.
That's crazy.
Because they just feel like they're invincible.
I mean, is it safe to drop your child off at the roller rink? Back in the day, that was fine. Kids would go there. They go to the mall. Maybe not so much now.
Well,
Just be aware of your surroundings.
I think being aware of your surroundings is key. Having that communication with your child is key. I mean, dangers are everywhere. You cannot live in fear,
true.
because if you start living in fear, our perpetrators have already won. But teach your kids to be aware of their surroundings. Know who they're talking with on social media. Be aware of what's happening. Be aware of what their friends are doing and going through. If you see your child hiding their phone a lot all of a sudden, or getting upset if they get grounded, or you start noticing B starts calling but there's no name attached, or Mike and you don't know anybody named Mike, or Bestie and you don't see names attached and the conversations do not seem normal to you, intervene. Have a conversation with your child. Find out what's going on. Any place is safe, but we have to arm our kids to understand that there are dangers out there.
So scary. So there's also a cyber tip line.
Yes. So the cyber tip line was created. So we all know about John Walsh and his son Adam, who disappeared in the early 80s. There was another child, Eaton Patz, I believe the correct pronunciation is. He was also abducted right around that same time. The family of both of those juveniles helped create the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And over the years, it has involved to taking care of cyber tips. It's more than just a missing child hotline. It involves everything child exploitation. And it is a great resource. Anybody can apply, anybody can make a tip, anybody can call for help. So it's 1-800-THE-LOST is the telephone number. It's the easiest way to remember it, or cyber tips. There's also some great resources on that website. So if you Google NCMEC for National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or netsmarts.org, and that's NETSMARTZ.org, there's some great resources on how to talk to your children about some of the dangers we've discussed today. There's stuff from pre-K all the way up into high school to talk about the dangers and how to communicate these to your children.
And I put those links in the information that'll be on the YouTube video and in the Facebook page. So they're there as well, and people can remember it.
And the 2 videos are great. Watch them with your children. Let them see how quick these dangers can happen and that they're always lurking. Education is the key, and so is communication.
Keep talking. Talk to your kids.
That's
Wow.
absolutely right.
Well, thank you for the information, Diane. This is very eye-opening, and that's why I wanted you to come on the show, because I've heard your presentation. And although I don't have young children anymore, it's still amazing. It's so amazing to me.
And kids are getting smarter, too. They're using code words to hide some of their messages. In the presentation that we have, there's a sheet in there that shows some of those abbreviations, IRL, in real life. There's ones that parents are watching. They write in code word that we don't understand. So talk to your kids. Find out what the current technology is. If you don't know, Google it. Google's your best friend.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And that ends our show for today. We do appreciate our sponsors, Roger Stein Chiropractic and the Lake Conroe Realty Group. Thank you to both Diane Peterson with the Montgomery County Constables Office Precinct 5 and Teresa DeFord Law Firm, and all about families and keeping our families safe and keeping us happy. Thank you.